I don't know. Kira, are you still here? What should we say? Kira! Whoever is in the chat, anybody? Ah! Anyone? Well, okay then. I'll just do it by myself then. Erik nodded before he gently reached over and placed his hand over mine, running his thumb over my knuckles and examining my face with soft sadness.
I must apologize, Princess. To see you be hunted by both demons and devils, I feel entirely responsible.
Erik, it's not your fault.
No, forgive me, but I can't stand the thought of them hurting you. If we had never come, you'd never be in danger.
I quickly reached over and put... Whoops! Why do I keep doing that? Why? No! Ah! Okay. Erik, it's okay. I wanted to help you out. I offered to let you all stay. Nothing is your fault. I gently moved my hand and cupped Erik's cheek, staring at him with concern. I didn't want him to hold guilt in his mind about the whole ordeal. Diana was desperate, and she'd hunt anyone for them. It wasn't his fault she was desperate enough to hunt them down. However, I was curious. So Erik, you're a noble? Erik chuckled before he stared at the hand he was caressing with a soft smile.
Yes, I'm a noble. My brothers and I are nobles. Well, I guess I should say were now, shouldn't I?
Were?
James was the demon prince when we lived in the Abyssal Plains. The others and I were simply nobles living in the castle, simply because of our bloodline. Should James fail or die, we were the replacements. Well, we didn't want to live like that, as simply replacements over our brother. So we all wanted to leave and be an actual family.
What was it like while you were there?
Well, to put it simply, it was boring. James was constantly being trained while the rest of us had to constantly entertain ourselves without disturbing him. I, however, was also being trained under the guidance of my mother.
Your mother?
Yes, she was a lovely woman. I never knew what she looked like.
That made no sense. How could he not know what his own mother looked like? Erik, as if he read my mind, smiled and chuckled at the confusion on my face.
Our father had multiple wives. James, myself, Sam, and Matthew came from these very women. But tensions grew high when Damien was born outside our father's marriages. In order to quell the tension, our father had a powerful demon mage turn our mothers into simple, floating spirits. They lived, but they could not have physical form.
That's horrible!
It is, but which is better? A house where the sons of the Demon Lord could have their birth mothers, or watching these very women claw at each other's throats out of jealousy, leaving the sons with no true parental guidance. Our father didn't have time for anyone but James, so the rest of us needed someone to make sure we didn't grow up to be incompetent.
Erik had a point. It was horrid, but it was a logical point. I bit my lip and nodded in understanding. Erik gently brought my hand up to kiss my knuckles.
Would you like to see what I mean instead?
I stared, trying to understand what he meant. However, as the memory of when he showed me the demon palace replayed in my mind, I nodded and let my curiosity guide me. Erik smiled before simply holding out one hand to me and letting a small breath reach underneath... Wait, what? Oh yeah. Okay. Letting a small breath rush under... okay. I cannot talk right now. Letting a small breath rush against his palm. There we go. Instantly, the flower Erik had given to me appeared in his hand, making him smirk and making me blush.
You kept it. Good.
Erik wrapped his fingers gingerly around the stem, giving it the magic it had been given before in casting an aura-like mirror before me. I peered in to see the castle main hall once again. The memory of being in that hall, albeit by magic, sent a small shiver down my spine. I watched, however, as a familiar demon walked arm in arm with a woman with cat ears and a tail down the walkway.
Chiffy, my sweet kitten, you truly astound me. Whatever shall I do with you?
Oh god, now there's cat girls? No!
Stop it, you're making me blush.
But what if I want to make you blush? You're so much cuter when you blush, kitten.
Stop!
I felt my eye twitch in irritation. Why was Erik showing me this? Was he wanting to spite me? I didn't want to see him flirt with demon girls. I already had some trouble with him flirting with me.
You sly incubus, you. I'll get in trouble for sure if I'm caught with you.
Then shouldn't we make the risk worthwhile?
Oh god. Erik held the cat girl close to his body, looking about ready to kiss her. The girl, however, mewed and pulled away, giggling in almost cute embarrassment.
Such a bad incubus, so bad. I should go.
Ah, very well, you minx. Until we meet again.
The cat girl giggled before rushing out of the main hall, but not before Erik lowered his hand underneath her tail as she turned and let it slide across his fingers as she ran off, making the cat girl jump in surprise. The girl playfully glared at Erik, who only pouted innocent lips in return before she exited. However, as the girl left the room, Erik's face went from flirtatious to almost Damien cold. Erik let out a sigh, gently rubbing his hands to rid them of the fur that had caught on them, and rolled his shoulders.
Well, mother, was that enough to please you?
I stared, shocked at the personality change. What the heck happened to Erik? He was flirty, charming, and almost disgustingly complimentary. But the Erik was seeing, was... what? But the Erik I was seeing in the mirror wasn't him at all. Every time that there is a freaking typo or whatever, I trip up on it. So sorry. A small red orb surrounded with a veil of purple mist entered the space, making my mind go blank. It approached Erik, glowing as it spoke.
Very well done, dear. Much better than I expected of you.
Thank you. You taught me well.
That I did. You must never forget, however, to always listen to your women. Serving them is your #1 priority. Should they be uncomfortable, you must step back and be as submissive as possible.
Yes, mother.
Good. Now, continue to woo that cat girl. Once she gives you her energy, then you can toss her back out. You don't need any pets hanging around when you find another girl.
As you wish, mother.
I stared in utter shock. The orb vanished, but Erik remained in the hall, letting out a sigh. He had a look of displeasure on his face. He looked tired as well, but something seemed off. He looked like he has a lot on his mind. But he closed his mouth, but his closed mouth wouldn't let him speak then. He was submissive to his guidance. I turned away from the mirror to look at the Erik beside me, who had a look of both sadness and guilt. It was as, like a puppy admitting to chewing my favorite shoe, or a child stealing a cookie from the cookie jar. Erik stopped the magic, willing the mirror out of existence, and letting it fade away in the air, before he looked to me.
She taught me well. At least what she could teach me anyway. That visage became habit, and now it's a natural persona to me. She taught me to always serve and make the women I met happy. She always said that that was the true incubus way.
The true incubus way?
It makes sense, no? If I can please and serve any women I meet, then I can surely convince them to fully give their energy to me.
I began to see the mask Erik was wearing. He wasn't putting on Erik because he was overly complimentary. He was complimentary in order to gain trust and respect. That is smart.
It is. However, I know what you're thinking, Princess. I don't blame you for thinking what you are thinking of right now.
Then what am I thinking of right now?
Who am I exactly? If I am truly not as flirtatious as I act, then what do I act like, and will you be the next victim? I can assure you, Princess, that I am no danger to you.
How can I be so sure?
Because, Princess, I don't deserve your trust or energy.
I stared, my mind going blank. What did he mean? Erik lifted my hand again and gently caressed it, staring down at it.
You've done so much for me and my brothers, sheltering us, letting us continue to live here. It may not seem like much, but to a family of brothers without anywhere to go, it means everything. I can't soil your gifts to us by taking anything from you. You've become so important and precious to us, to me. To take anything from you like that would be beyond unforgivable.
I watched in speechless silence as Erik lifted my hand higher and simply laid his lips against it. I could feel his frown and felt his shame self into my skin. It was a pitiful sight and almost made my eyes water.
I could never do that to you.
Erik lowered my hand and lowered his head ashamed. I couldn't help but feel my heart squeeze within my chest at the sight. He didn't want to hurt me. He truly cared. Erik let out a small sigh before looking to me, his face now clear of the flirtatious mask he bore for so long. He had a genuine, caring, and loving smile bared for me. This was the man inside of the incubus who cared for me and wanted her to be revealed.
Now, Princess, you must get some more rest. You aren't fully recovered, and dinner is a good scent to wake up to.
Erik smiled and gently pressed me back down into the bed. We're gonna steal a little kissy kiss. I couldn't let him leave without doing something. I quickly pulled Erik down to me, lifting my head and gently kissed him, softly laying a hand on his cheek to keep his face closed. Erik stared in deep surprise before hesitantly kissing me back, caressing my cheek and slightly melting at the touch of our lips. A soft sigh escaped his lips before he slowly pulled away with a smile. He gently licked his lips, making me go red in the face at the simple gesture. He let out a satisfied hum before nuzzling my forehead.
Sleep.
And with that, he stood up and left the room, leaving me to rest as per his request. I smiled to myself before relaxing into the mattress. Oh, fuck. I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. Something wasn't right. I felt it in my core. She must be here. The thought of her in the house infuriated me beyond belief. I had to make sure she was not here. I rolled out of bed and quickly left my room, wandering the halls and listening closely. She was a demon, but I was listening very intently. There was no way she would have been able to sneak up on me. I know you're here. Where are you? I could feel myself growl. It wasn't a matter of fear that she'd take away the boys anymore. Her very existence had lit a fire of rage within my gut, which only grew as each day went by. This feud was getting on my nerves, and I knew it would not end well for one of us. I wasn't going to lose to that demon bitch.
Diana, what a pleasant surprise.
My heart stopped. Diana was with Erik.